we already had a video about language contact. When you have a situation of contact, that situation is going to have consequences. So one of those consequences could be code mixing and code switching, but those are not the only things that may happen in a situation of contact. And then today we're going to cover some of that other stuff. There is a particular term that is used in sociolinguistics, and that is the word pidgin. When people of different linguistic backgrounds are in contact for a prolonged period of time in a stable situation, the situation can result in the creation of pidgins and even creoles. Today's video is dedicated to pidgins. Now you would ask, what is a pidgin? In sociolinguistics, pidgin refers to a language variety that is no one's native language. The word contact language or contact vernacular is also used to refer to the same language variety that we usually call pidgin. It's more precise to say when we have a situation of contact, it can result in the creation of pidgins or pidginization. Keep in mind the fine distinction or the fine aspect in the definition of in contact. A contact is when you have bilinguals speaking two languages, and in their mind, those languages come into contact with each other. And it is only then that things will happen that we have been discussing in this and previous videos and will discuss in future videos. So you have a situation where different linguistic communities come into contact with each other and they don't speak the same language. Their languages are mutually unintelligible. Yet, those people are highly motivated to communicate with each other. And when I say highly motivated, I mean they really need to communicate with each other. Pidgins are created in situations where there is typically a lot of economic development and flourishing, and people need to communicate with each other. At the same time, they don't speak languages that are mutually intelligible. And this is why there's another term for pidgin other than contact language or contact vernacular, and that term is trade language. Pidgins have been historically created as a mix of two or more languages. Usually they have a substratum language, which means they're based on a particular language, their main structures, and then they borrow items from different languages. They seem to be like a quick solution for urgent communication needs. Pidgins have reduced grammar. It means they have fewer grammatical structures. They have reduced lexicon and they have a smaller stylistic range. They are much less complex than a natural language. Pidgins have historically been created in places like the West and East Indies, the Americas, Africa, but there's also pidgins in Papua New Guinea. If you look at the regions that I just mentioned as parts of the world where pidgins were created, you will notice that these are the places where a lot of European colonization took place, especially during the 17th to 19th centuries. There's actually an example of a pidgin that was created outside of those typical regions, and that pidgin is called Russenorsk. It's a pidgin that was once spoken along the Arctic coast of northern Norway from the 18th until the early 20th century. Its vocabulary was 47% Norwegian, 39% Russian, 14% other languages including Dutch, English, or possibly German, English, Sami, French, Finnish, and Swedish. This is an example of, not atypical, but an example of a pidgin from an area that you wouldn't suspect. Tok Pisin was a pidgin that was so useful that it actually became an auxiliary language and it was given official status, like an official language. Because the use of this pidgin expanded among its users, it's called expanded pidgin and is now an official language of Papua New Guinea. This language is a mix of English and other languages. These are personal pronouns in Tok Pisin. As you see, it's three persons, two numbers, first person, second person, third person, two numbers, singular, plural. Me means I, you means you, and M means he, she, it. You see here, when we say reduce grammar, As you can see in English, we have he, she, which is natural gender. That distinction has been taken away. And also in English, we have it, which is an inanimate third person singular. So again, animate as a grammatical feature has been taken away. So this is an example of reduction. Then we have the plural forms. Mi pela means we, you, me means there's two words for we, exclusive of a speaker and inclusive of a speaker. You pela and ol. Okay, another example. You took 1M. You means you, singular. Took means say, and 1M means is a question particle. Basically, you don't change the word order like you do in English. It was just a brief introduction into what a pidgin is.